In the southern area of South America, where it was absolutely windy, and that one survived, you won't believe it, but it survived 120 knots of wind.
Hi, I'm Petra Hilleberg. I am here with one of the strongest and I think one of the absolute most impressive women on the planet, Freya Hoffmeister.
Well, hi.
We have these flags here. These are some of the countries that you've touched paddling, but you have paddled around Iceland, South Island of New Zealand, Australia, South America, and a whole bunch of other ones too.
Well, yes, obviously. So these flags are actually not the one I have only touched. So the one I have covered most of the whole coastline, almost all coastline. That's what my goal was. And the middle ring is the South American ring. I have covered them all, and the bottom ring now will be the one I'm gonna be touching on the new trip.
Right.
Yeah, it's kind of a little bit of a trophy flower bunch.
Yeah. And then in the middle we have Germany for your home country.
Yeah, I have paddled also there, not around properly, but I started there, obviously, and it's my hometown.
On your trips, you talk about that you're just doing little islands, which is not really true.
Or they grow, they do grow, and
they have been growing a lot.
No, well, the name changed, but it's still an island to a degree. And well, Australia was obviously the first continental island I was paddling around, and the second smallest one I could find was South America. So I was calling my new trip now number 3, the North Island, because after the South Island comes the North Island. That's quite obvious, isn't it?
You paddle, you do these amazing expeditions that most people would not even think of in their wildest dreams, and you do them all by yourself.
Yeah, I really appreciate that, to just not have to look after anybody else, because 2 people means 2 problems, and so it's mostly easier for me to do it by myself.
You might, as a solo paddler, be worried about things. Are you ever scared when you're out by yourself?
Well, I have big respects for all kind of nature situations of all kind of animals, and also from the people in the countries which I'm visiting. And again, Australia was more the wildlife, which was on the scary side. All the sharks, crocodiles, and venomous sea snakes and jellyfish were most scary in Australia. But in South America, not any of the wildlife was really bothering me there, thank goodness. And rather I was having to be a bit more careful about the people, especially in the northern areas. And this was also the reason I was hooking up with the Navy of Colombia, for the reason, as they say, well, looking after me while they were doing actually their kind of traffic control on the water. So most South Americans are still caballeros, gentlemen, and like to help me around rather than bothering me. And instead of carrying a weapon or just doing whatever kind of kung fu exercise to protect myself, I rather to try to put all my charm into getting these guys away in a reasonable way, and was working most times. Yeah. On the new one, I may now think I have to look for some paddling buddies up there in the north, where the long-teethed polar bears are hanging out, and I'm not really sure if I will be very happy just by myself there.
Right, because your new project is North America.
Exactly, yeah. So
you're going to paddle all around North America.
I think I will do that, yeah.
Well, usually when you've said you're going to do it, people think, oh my God, you're crazy, that's not possible, and then you do it.
Yeah, maybe, kind of, but it's, I think it's still doable. This trip I'm also doing in bits and pieces, not all in one rush. This would be simply not what I prefer to do right now, and I have also life to come back at home.
So now you're going to go, so you're starting in Seattle and then paddling north for about 5 months, right?
Yeah, that's the first section, yeah. I aim to finish up in Kodiak Island, and then I will go back home and look after my Christmas shop, my ice cream shop again.
Christmas shop, which is also another unusual little bit.
That's quite a big bother to fiddle around with 5,000 little items and to get them all in order, lined up nicely.
Yeah. When you are out, most of the nights, obviously depending on where you are, you sleep in your tent.
Oh yes, and I definitely love my valued Allak from Hilleberg. And I paddled with the Allak quite ever since.
Yeah.
And occasionally I use also a Staika in the southern area of South America, where it was absolutely windy, and that one survived, you won't believe it, but it survived 120 knots of wind. Absolutely wind which is not really made for tents, I would say, but the good quality Hilleberg tent survived, including myself, and thank goodness this was not anything serious. And the Allak does mostly the job also when you use it in proper areas and tighten the guidelines properly. It survives a lot of wind. If there's no place to put the tent stakes, then you just have it freestanding, and it works also all right. So sometimes I'm camping on rocks, and that's nice to have a possibility to have it freestanding.
Yeah.
Well, I really appreciate having keen gear, and the tough thing if you camp on sand and you have rain all night going, it's obviously to pack the sandy wet tent into the stuff bag, and this is what I feel sorry for the tent and for my hands and for everything, but it has to happen because you want to get going and you can't wait until it's dry and it may stop raining, and then shaking the sand off is with one person also sometimes not that easy to achieve. So, but at night when it's hopefully sometimes rain-free, pitching it, and I'm always happy to shake it and brush it and clean it in all corners. And so I like to have well-working, maintained gear, and also includes the zippers, which you have to keep a little bit of an eye on it. But
I mean, it's obviously when you're in wet sand or sand
preventing
in general.
things breaking is much more important than mending them when they're punctured or broken or whatever. So prevent it. It's most valuable thing to do with any kind of gear, and the tent especially. It's your house. I keep my house at home clean also. So.
Exactly.
And I'm not jumping in the house with dirty shoes, so why should I do it inside the tent? And
right. You don't let your door fall down on the ground either,
exactly.
Right?
So usually I mostly actually use the top zipper to enter my tent, and the bottom zipper is mostly hanging into the sand anyway, and so it's my trick to keep the zipper going by just... I have the ventilation on top anyway open, and just enter it mostly through the top too. I also like to have two entrances because I like to see to the right and to the left whatever may be approaching me, dangerous or less dangerous. That's also for ventilation good, but mostly for the safety. If a crocodile walks in one entrance, I walk out on the other. So that's at least my idea.
Yeah. Do you have like a favorite memory from, obviously you probably have a lot of memories from all these trips, but do you have like a favorite that was including your tent?
Yeah, well, it's actually many favorite memories. This is all night through a good memory that I'm having my own four walls with me on the trip, where you always camp in whatever different place. And I even pitched the tent up in sometimes inside houses when there doubtful company or there was doubtful critters also inside the houses or too many bugs or whatever. I really did it more than once to pitch it inside some strange places, and it was... I zip down the door and I'm
You're home,
myself.
Huh? Yeah.
I'm just having my privacy, and I need my privacy occasionally.
Yeah. So we're all looking forward to following you and following your expeditions, because you do usually little updates on the computer.
Yeah, every night I will post what I have been, my adventures of the day. I was typing at night in the computer, and I will send it away with a just regular phone if there's cell phone access, or with a satellite phone.
Yeah.
And so basically everybody on the world can follow my trip, more or less live.
And what's the website?
My website is just freyahoffmeister.com.
So
quite easy to find.
Yeah, freyahoffmeister.com.
Oh yeah, that's hard to miss. I think if you Google my name, should be alright to find. And
well, we are really excited to have you here, and we look forward to following you. And we are very impressed. I am very impressed with what you're doing.
Well, I'm absolutely pleased about having a Hilleberg Allak tent available all the time, and thanks a lot for that.
Well, you are welcome. So thank you.
Yeah.